Renaissance of New India towards agriculture, science and technology, education. Renaissance means rebirth. Rebirth or revival in the field of agriculture, science and technology, education. First, let us see the Renaissance of India in the field of agriculture. Renaissance is rebirth. In the history of India, though it went across many trouble and problems in the field of agriculture, science, and economy, it revived itself and came out with wonderful solutions to the problems. India is a country in which the agriculture is heavily dependent on the climate. In the history of India, famine had been a recurrent feature of life in the Indian subcontinent. Famines in India resulted in more than 60 million deaths over the course of the 18th, 19th, and early 20th centuries. This picture shows the victims of the Great Famine of 1876 to 1878 in India. This picture describes the severity of the famine in India, a child who starved to death during the Bengal famine of 1943. Though Indian agriculture went through a series of troubles, it revived itself by new solutions. The famine and poverty in India were conquered by planning and implementation of various corrective measures by the Indian government. Irrigation systems were introduced. Many dams were constructed. Large food godowns were established. Drip irrigation was introduced, which resulted in reduction in consumption of water. Modern agricultural equipments were provided to the farmers. These remedial measures resulted in increasing production of crops in India. This graph shows the increase in production of crops to meet the demands of population growth. India also revived its science and technological capabilities by doing research and development on its own. Now we will be watching the challenges faced by Indian nuclear and space program and how that was overcome by Indian scientists. Indian nuclear program started in the year 1948 with the initiative of Dr. Jahangir Baba, who is the father and founder director of Indian nuclear program. It was a new beginning for India in the field of nuclear energy. Department of Atomic Energy, DAE, was also established in the year 1954. However, within a short span of time at 1966, India lost its visionary Dr. Homi Jahangir Baba in a plane crash. This is a sad moment and great loss for Indian nuclear program. However, India revived its nuclear program, and in the year 1974, May 18, India conducted its first nuclear test at Pokhran. The test was code-named Smiling Buddha because the test was conducted on Buddha Purnima. This is a great moment for India, and it made India a nuclear power. The picture shows the location of Pokhran in the desert of Rajasthan where the first nuclear test was conducted. Then Prime Minister of India Srimati Indira Gandhi visited the location and applauded the scientists. However, after the first nuclear test at Pokhran, the international community laid sanctions against India and tried to stop India's progress to become a nuclear weapon country. This was a hard time for India. The international community withdrew its support to India. The international community thought that the sanctions on India will create negative impact on India, but really it created a positive thrust in the field of science and technology. It made India to indigenously construct its own nuclear reactors and to develop its own scientific equipment. India successfully conducted second nuclear test at Pokhran. The Pokhran 2 tests were a series of 5 nuclear bomb test explosions conducted by India at the Indian Army's Pokhran test range in May 1998. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam and Dr. Rajaramana played important role under the leadership of then Prime Minister Vajpayee to realize Pokhran 2. Now India became a nuclear power with 22 nuclear reactors and few more under constructions. This picture shows the overall view of Indian nuclear facilities. Thanks to the talent and infrastructure in our country, today, India is among the topmost countries in the world in the field of scientific research. Indian achievements in space technology. ISRO launched a record of 104 satellites on a single rocket. ISRO launched the country's heaviest rocket GSLV Mk3, whose cryogenic engine was developed indigenously. Rafat Shahrukh, an 18-year-old from Karur in Tamil Nadu, designed the world's smallest satellite. ISRO has developed an atomic clock that will be used in navigation satellites to measure precise location data. India developed BrahMos, the world's fastest and most formidable anti-ship cruise missile. Chandrayaan-1, India's first lunar exploration mission, made it possible for ISRO to go beyond the geostationary orbit. Mangalyaan-1, the Mars orbiter mission, marked India's first venture into the interplanetary space. ISRO successfully test-fired its scramjet rocket engine and air-breathing rocket systems, which uses atmospheric oxygen from their surrounding. Renaissance of New India towards education. During the ancient period, 2 systems of education were developed, Vedic and Buddhist. The medium of language during the Vedic system was Sanskrit, while those in the Buddhist system were Pali. During those times the education was of Vedas, Brahmanas, Upanishads, and Dharmasutras. The education was mostly imparted in ashrams, gurukuls, temples, houses. The education mostly focused on the enrichment of culture, character, and personality development. The ancient education system had the following disadvantages. The syllabus did not include science. Women were not admitted to the gurukuls. There was caste discrimination. Students from only few communities were allowed to get the education and others were restrained from education. The modern education was introduced by Lord Macaulay during 1830s. This revolutionized the Indian education system. The subjects like science, maths were given importance. English language was adopted as common language for teaching. Religion was restrained from the education system and students from all communities, religion, and language were equally treated. Gurukuls were vanished and present-day school system was incorporated. Students discontinuing education due to their poverty was a major problem in earlier days. This was overcome by providing midday meal at schools. In addition to midday meal scheme, uniforms, bicycles and laptops were provided to the students at free of cost to overcome the hardships faced by the poor students. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the schools were closed from March 2020. However, the staff and students overcame the difficulties by using video conferencing facilities provided by the modern technology. Staff and students quickly adopted themselves to the new mode of education. We would like to conclude our video with hope-giving message. If you see the history, challenges are not new to the humankind. Whenever a challenge arises, the humankind overcome that by innovation and adopting to new technologies. Soon, by the grace of God, we will be overcoming this COVID-19 pandemic also and start our routine life.